Hello, my name is Rohene Bouajram, and I'm joining you from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. I'd like to begin with thanking BCCIE for a kind invitation to be part of the Morning Coffee Series. I'd like you to join me as I map out some reflections of my leadership journey and perhaps find things that resonate or differ from what I share. I am a settler. I have benefited from international education in service of a career that has exposed me to expanding my worldview, a worldview that was largely based on having lived in the global South in a beautiful country called Zimbabwe. I have met thousands of incredible international students whose experiences have been filled with sacrifice, dreams, and hopes for what they could achieve while studying and living in Canada. I have studied abroad, lived abroad, and then used my experiences to ignite a level of excitement in students to go on an exchange. I am a settler. I have worked at multiple institutions here in British Columbia and extended the concept of team across provinces and countries to better understand and recreate what success looks like from social, institutional, immigration, global, and cultural perspectives. I love learning, from my 2 degrees, immigration certification, to the continuous appetite for training on intercultural understanding, anti-racism, global citizenship, facilitating courageous conversations, and so much more. I did this as a first-generation woman who came from humble means and with a positionality that often stretched to understand others better. I have seen the impact of being dead-named, misgendered, mispronounced, misunderstood, and an invisible labor of constantly educating others. I am a settler. I pose a question that has surfaced for me and might for you too. That is, how do I show up as a leader who is also a settler, helping others come to Canada? Now, I am aware that some people might interpret this as we need to stop international education, or be furious that I'm asking this question. This is not what I'm saying, and I invite you to hear me out. We, as a sector, have acknowledged the importance of critical and comprehensive internationalization. Yet, there continues to be missing topics, untouched areas of dialogue, and sometimes a willingness to know that the iceberg exists, but going deep down to the depths of it is scary. We are all doing the work of international education, from global learning and citizenship, mobility, international student advising, development, and so on. We're doing this work with a level of compassion and sincerity. And we are also doing this work on lands stolen under a doctrine of discovery, contradictory decisions, constant states of triggering events, paradoxes, and deep-seated commitment to want to both know and do better. No strangers to discomfort, I believe that working and living in this duality is our strength as international educators, practitioners, and leaders. So as a settler who has taken up leadership roles in international education, and as a Black woman who didn't need a title to know the difference between what is right and just, rather, a familiar spiritual understanding of injustice. There are 3 values I have come to understand and practice as often as I can. They may resonate with you. The first is truth. The value of truth means learning more about our history and where we all come from as settlers, understanding What has happened to Indigenous communities for millennia helps us see what continues to exist in both cycles and systems of harm and oppression present day. Let us share our learning with students. Be courageous enough to use language as a means of conveying the complexity of the truth. And no, I'm not meaning a pat on the back for pronouncing Indigenous community names correctly. Rather, let us embrace decolonization and indigeneity as critical lenses to support the new conversations, the new reflections, and the new stories that make up international education. The second value is congruence. Congruence means understanding that all the terms ending in isms, obias, archi, gini, dehumanize people. They also perpetuate cycles of superiority and injustice that face some of our incoming and outgoing students as we hear their stories in our advising offices, see them come up against institutional structures that have yet to catch up with current times. And when we strive to take up an advocacy role that sometimes feels like a never-ending battle. I draw on Ibrahim Kendi's approach of being anti. It's not enough to say we aren't any of these. We have to be anti these to establish congruence in our thinking and actions. From creating psychological safety for students and peers to be included, to slowing things down to create a culture of trust, or to knowing when to step forward, when to step back, and when to step out, are just a few ways of leading differently. The last value for me is integrity. Integrity is a strong reminder to never forget that what we each bring to international education makes us stronger to sit within this duality. From your race, culture, gender, sexual orientation, religion, etc. We cannot change without strong solidarity from all. We need better representation at all levels of leadership, organizations, and boards in international education. As a sector, we have created long-lasting critical mass of diversity that many of our institutions are proud of. Let us reflect this so that when the decisions, small and long-term, are made, lived experience, expertise, and expansiveness shape the processes and outcomes of international education's next chapter. I have not always lived or led from these values. I try to create space for myself and others to be our whole selves in honor of my ancestors who experienced different life challenges and different scopes of dreaming. May I invite you to do the same. Thank you for taking time to hear me. Take care.